We will now move on to the item on the implementation of the Action for Better Health, a strategy for collaboration between the WHO Regional Office for Europe and member states of the WHO European region. We will then look at all of the issues of governance, and I suggest that we, first of all, think about the dates and the place of the next regional committee in order to ensure that we can take that last decision in time, in appropriate and due form, and then we will examine all of the remaining agenda items. Therefore, I suggest that we continue the debate up until 7 p.m. Then we'll have a rather brief break if we haven't finished all of the debates. Sandwiches will be served outside, so you can have a bite to eat, and hopefully we'll make it to the end. I hope that this is agreeable to you. I therefore would like to open up agenda item 12 of our agenda, namely delivering United Action for Better Health, a strategy for collaboration between the WHO Regional Office for Europe and the member states of the WHO European region. As you are aware, collaboration with the member states is one of the priorities of the work and program of the European region. Now it is a matter of implementing this approach and working towards effective implementation and to establish close dialogue between the Secretariat and the member states. A whole deal of work has been done within the standing committee. Along these lines, I would like to give the floor to the chair of the subgroup of the standing committee that reflected on this matter, namely Anne Soirée, who is going to share with us the results of the work that has been conducted. Anne, you have the floor, please.
Merci.
Thank you.
Chair, Mr. Regional Director, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure for Belgium to open this session dedicated to the new strategy on collaboration between the WHO European Regional Office and its member states. This strategy is the fruit of a 3-year process co-led by the Secretariat and member states. Belgium has been honored to serve as a chair for the subgroup of SCRC member states that have closely assisted the regional office in the drafting of this strategy. We want to express our sincere thanks to the member of the subgroup, as well as to the Secretariat and to the core team. At the last regional committee, a clear mandate has been given to draft this strategy, and we are glad to present it today for adoption. Dear colleagues, this new strategy is an important milestone to enhance the impact of the WHO Euro at country level and to increase its relevance for all its member states in all their diversity. The strategy is not a tabula rasa from historic ways of working. It is not a revolution, but an evolution towards more clarity and more consistency in the work of WHO Euro at country level. The strategy includes key principles on transparency, inclusiveness, efficiency, with a strong focus on agility, ownership, and innovation. We comment its comprehensiveness, giving a full picture of all the modalities for engaging with member states, with dialogue at the core of the strategy. Colleagues, before giving the floor to the Secretariat, please let me say a few words about the Belgian experience. Belgium is collaborating with the WHO in the frame of a bilateral country cooperation strategy, CCS. 2 years ago, we reviewed this CCS to assess its implementation. This was an inclusive process based on open discussion with the WHO to explore what we expect from and what we can offer to each other. This two-way process led to the selection of a set of joint priorities for action in line with the European and the global programs of work. We are today already implementing some concrete projects with the WHO. At our request, the WHO reviewed the Belgium health policy on NCD prevention and their level of implementation. On this basis, they have formulated evidence-based and independent recommendations that we intend to use for future policy development. We see this kind of short-term concrete project as innovative ways of country collaboration. Dear colleagues, we are very much looking forward to the implementation of the strategy with the appropriate resources. In our views, the strategy should be a living document which makes country collaboration into a topic of ongoing conversation between the Member States and the Secretariat. Finally, let me please invite all WHO national counterparts in the European region to join the new network for which an event was organized last Sunday. This network is a concrete first step from the strategy to increase peer-to-peer support between health authorities, which is so valuable for resilience in the current uncertain times. I thank you for your attention, and I give the floor to the Secretariat.
Yes, thank you, dear Chair. At this point, we were planning to recall major elements of the strategy in the presentation, but in the interest of time, we will skip that presentation. The good thing is that this is a strategy that was developed in very close and extensive consultation with Member States over the last 2 years, so I trust that many of you have been in contact with the development and are already somewhat familiar with the strategy. And we also had the opportunity, apart from the extensive consultations with Member States, and I may just recall that we had alone 13 meetings of the subgroup chaired by Belgium over the last 2 years. We also had extensive consultation with our staff colleagues along the 3 levels of the organization and with many partners. So a big thanks to the chair of the subgroup and all the members of the subgroup for this extraordinary engagement in the process. Now, we took some time and a lot of effort to co-develop the strategy with you Member States because the ambition to increase our relevance for all 53 Member States here in the region is so central to the European Programme of Work and, as you're all aware, very central also to our regional director's mandate and heart, I dare say. So the starting point for the development of the strategy was really that we've seen so significant changes in the world around us that obviously impacted on your expectations of WHO. And you may recall, as you've just reminded us, that in the last regional committee meeting 1 year ago, we had a discussion around how your expectations of the organization have changed. And you were pointing to WHO, of course, as a major expectation for the organization to be an expert advisor on the major public health areas of universal health coverage, emergency preparedness and response, and healthy communities and environments. But you equally pointed to the importance of the organization and your expectation that WHO should invest more in supporting leadership for health in countries, in working alongside ministries, in communication and fighting disinformation, and in providing operational support if that is needed. So these are the expectations that make up our core offer to you as Member States. These are 6 core capabilities that you will see set out in the strategy. Now, deploying these core capabilities depends on what we call the 4 building blocks for country collaboration that you will find in the strategy. And we are very much aware that only if all 4 building blocks come together under one architecture, we can be the Member State-facing organization that you want to be for you. So with regard to each of the building blocks, you will see in the strategy affirmed and strengthened what works already very well. But likewise, you will see that the strategy includes a proposition for many innovations for the years to come. And I will just say a couple of words about each of the building blocks. First, the foundation, of course, of our work lies in the realigned structure and the excellence of the regional office, our GDOs, our project offices, and of course our offices in countries. And for the future, we will continue to bring our technical expertise closer to the field. And in particular, we want to leverage better our partnerships, in particular those of the more than 280 collaborating centers that we have. And I hope you all, or many of you, had a chance to look outside at the exhibition that features quite a lot of this excellent work that is ongoing in those centers. Second, dialogue and agreement. Already our regional director and our WRs have taken the interaction with member states to a new level. But for the future, we want to further tailor our collaboration based on structured dialogue, and we want to articulate our shared vision in medium strategic plans with our member states. Now, the network of national counterparts that you've mentioned is also an important element of this building block, namely us striving to facilitate a more direct and horizontal exchange between countries, and having had the first meeting of this renewed network of national counterparts is an important element. The third part, building block, is around the models of country collaboration. We do have 30 country offices here in our region, and we will ensure that each of them will be a conduit for support on each of the 6 core capabilities that I've talked about. Now, in the future, we propose to streamline also our access to the Secretariat for countries where we do not have country offices, by matching national counterparts with WHO counterparts. And fourth building block, ways of working. Already over the past 2 years, you've seen many changes in how we work with you, shifting towards new ways of working. And for the future, we want to go further and complement the traditional in-country support with additional, more agile, time-bound support by teams that we can deploy to member states, to any member states, upon demand. And we also want to intensify our direct support to current and future health leaders, such as through the Pan-European Leadership Academy. Now, coming to an end, talking about implementation. So it is a new strategy, indeed, but increasing our relevance for countries is not a new effort. Actually, since day one of our regional director's mandate, we have made a concerted effort to be more close, more responsive, and more relevant for all of you, and we all hope that you do feel a difference. So the strategy is maybe a new strategy, but it's not a new project. It rather gives direction to a trajectory of increasing country relevance for the years to come. We will implement the strategy through the program budget that you entrust us to work with. We have a clear M&E framework that is aligned with the EPW and that has no additional reporting burden for member states. So let me finish by saying that from my perspective and from our perspective, the close exchange that we have built with you on country relevance is one of the most precious outcomes of the last 2 years of this process. And we very much look forward to continuing this dialogue in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Merci Gundo.
Thank you very much.
J'aimerais surtout aussi
I would
remercier la Belgique
also
et
like to
remercier
thank
Anne
Belgium
personnellement
and
pour tout
Anne
l'engagement. Je trouve
personally
que ça
for
illustre
the
vraiment,
commitment made.
notre
I
rôle
think that it
d'État
demonstrates
membre.
our
C'est à nous
roles
de
as
demander
member
ce
states.
que
It's
nous
up to
avons
us to
besoin.
ask from the
C'est un
Secretariat what we
excellent
need, and so I think that she's really leading the way there and showing a great
la
example
définition
about
stratégique,
pushing
la
the
définition des
strategic
priorités,
definition, the
et maintenant
definition
dans
of
la phase de
priorities, and
mise
now
en
in the
œuvre,
implementation
la
stage,
redevabilité
looking at
demandée
the
à l'organisation de
feasibility
soutenir, là où
and asking the
nécessaire,
organization to support us there where we actually need it. We've seen to what extent the organization is one that is dear to our hearts, so I really congratulate them on all the work that's done and thank them for their efforts. I shall now open the floor for deliberations, and the first to speak will be Czechia, to be followed by the Russian Federation and then Turkey. Czechia, please.
Honorable Chair, distinguished Regional Director, Excellencies, colleagues. I have the honor to speak on behalf of the European Union and its member states. The EU and its member states welcome the adoption of the new strategy entitled Delivering United Action for Better Health, a strategy for collaboration between the WHO Regional Office for Europe and the member states in the WHO European region. The objective of this strategy is to enhance the relevance of the WHO Euro for all its member states and increase the impact of the European Programme of Work, making full use of the available resources at country level.
We welcome the presentation of the comprehensive strategy, which showcases all the models and mechanisms for collaboration between the regional office and the member states, as well as involvement of the collaborating centers in the implementation of the strategy. As the COVID pandemic has painfully reminded us, WHO's leadership and support will remain important to member states in preventing and responding to health emergencies and other major public health challenges, such as emergency preparedness, environmental degradation, and climate change, and for strengthening health systems. Therefore, we appreciate that the strategy stresses the importance of the three pillars and of tailored cooperation based on a dialogue between the regional office and its member states, taking into account the needs and priorities of countries and of the WHO, including the valuable input of the collaborating centers. WHO's main function is to provide high-quality technical advice based on the best available evidence rather than to provide service delivery, and the WHO must do this in a value-based manner for all the countries in the region. Chair, we note that the allocation to the European region in the global budget is, for historical reasons, moderate in relation to the current number of its member states and their needs. Nevertheless, we call on the regional office to implement this strategy with available resources and to regularly report on its progress. Budgets should be based on decided and expected results in accordance with agreed program budget. We also fully support the decision taken by the RC72 concerning sustainable financing for WHO. We welcome the three different models on how to organize the collaboration between WHO Euro and its member states based on a tailor-made approach. However, we would like to have a clear understanding of how the organizational change can be implemented while ensuring high-quality technical assistance. In other words, what challenges do you foresee in implementing the organizational change? We expect that issues related to country cooperation must be brought to the attention of the governing bodies, beside the regular reporting on the implementation of this strategy. When structures with regional significance are developed, these should be presented to the governing bodies for adoption. We insist on good alignment, but the innovative models for country collaboration contained in this strategy can set a global example. Chair, we stand ready to further strengthen the European Union and the regional office collaboration to enhance synergies, avoid duplication, and achieve impact. Finally, we commend the close participation of member states in the development of this strategy. We encourage the regional office and member states to implement and monitor the strategy in a similar participative way. Thank you.
Merci la Tchéquie. Je me permets de...
Thank you very much, Turkey. Allow me to just remind everyone that group statements are to be limited to 5 minutes, and we invite you to please respect this time limit. I now turn to the Russian Federation, to be followed by Turkey and Slovenia.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель, уважаемый региональный директор, уважаемые коллеги. Российская Федерация благодарит секретариат за
Secretariat for this very important step that has been taken to strengthen the basis for potential building and collaboration between countries based on the financial and human resources they have. Agreeing on strategic goals at all levels of the WHO for sustainable development is important. We are, however, concerned by the serious differences that we see in the strategy between the quality and the access level in different places of the region. The country office has different levels of resources, therefore, and there are differences. As part of this session, we support the idea of working on the fact that 53 members should all have equal access, and we would like to see more support and stable resources for the next few years to come. We note the operational role of the country office of the WHO in the Russian Federation, which has been coordinating collaboration between the Russian Federation and the Euro region, as well as the headquarters, of course, in Geneva. We underscore the importance of guaranteeing the fact that optimizing the strategy will continue to be based on concrete innovations and will be done together with member states and not for them. Of course, we need to have approaches for collaboration that have already proved their worth. For example, strengthening the network of national responsible representatives, and we think that a coordinating role should be played by the national bodies and health bodies of each country. It's important here that we have reporting from the Secretariat and clear information on how collaboration is moving between different countries, irrespective of their WHO office having one or not having one. Thank you very much.
Merci, la
Thank you very much, Russian Federation. I shall now give the floor to Turkey, to be followed by Slovenia and then Switzerland. Turkey, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I would like to express that we find this item and strategy quite valuable. Turkey has been actively involved in the work since the beginning of the process. We would like to share our comments as follows. First, the four overarching objectives has been well planned and comprehensive. We care very much that all countries receive appropriately and a sustainable resources point of access. However, we would like to learn about how to conduct a study to achieve this. Two, we find the country-specific approach very valuable. We have no doubt that priorities will be set to meet the needs of the entire region. However, we think that the country-specific needs should be analyzed very well to use resources more efficiently, and multi-country studies should be focused much more. Third, we agree with the WHO on strengthening the dialogue mechanisms as the first block in the four-block system that has been created. It is not possible to have strong cooperation without strong dialogue. We have instruments like CCS and BCI for this dialogue. However, we have doubts about the effectiveness of these tools, because dialogue mechanisms should be useful for member states rather than to use experts of WHO experts. Four, if we will discuss about the money according the new value for money according the new strategy, it is impossible to have a tangible results without addressing the staff issues and the productivity. Since most of these organizations' budget is allocated to staff payments. Therefore, we believe that WHO should focus more to this issue, and more analytic studies should be focused. And five, we observe that there isn't any evaluation mechanism in order to assess effectiveness of country offices within participation of headquarter, region office, member states, and country offices on an annual basis. It is an important gap. Without this mechanism, monitoring will not be effective as it might be. Maybe such mechanism exists within the WHO 3 levels, but member states should also participate in these evaluation mechanisms. Thank you very much.
Merci, la Turquie.
Thank you very much, Turkey. I shall now give the floor to Slovenia, to be followed by Switzerland and then Germany. Slovenia, please.
Thank you, Chair. Slovenia aligns itself with the statement made by Czech Republic on behalf of the EU. Distinguished Regional Director, Excellency, Slovenia welcomes the proposed strategy for collaboration between the WHO Regional Office and the Member State. It is difficult to underscore enough how important it is for my country that it has an open channel with the regional office, and how privileged we are to host a country office. The tailored approach and support to Slovenia that you provided in several different areas has led to important positive policy changes, such as adoption of new tobacco legislation and mental health strategy, for example, and also to preparation of important strategy proposals, such as in primary health care. Furthermore, we have enjoyed invaluable support from your office, as well as the European Observatory for Health System, during the presidency to Council of EU, when we put medicines and innovation in health systems high on the agenda. And yes, together with you, we developed innovative solutions in several areas of primary health care and have them shared with your help with other member states in our region. We strongly believe that the new strategy will further improve our collaboration and give us member states opportunities to benefit from the invaluable assistance. We particularly welcome the strategic approach to develop more middle and long-term collaboration goals with the member states, which will complement the current biennial collaborative agreements. We also welcome the new capacity building opportunities that you will provide through the WHO Pan-European Leadership Academy. We are thankful for implementing the WHO transformation agenda in such an ambitious fashion, and we believe that this will impact our work at country level. Slovenia looks forward to continuing our prolific cooperation in the future. Thank you.
Merci, la Slovénie.
Thank you very much, Slovenia. I shall now give the floor to Switzerland, to be followed by Germany and then Kazakhstan. Switzerland, please.
Merci.
Thank you.
Cher Monsieur le Directeur Régional,
Distinguished
chers
Regional
délégués.
Director, distinguished delegates, Switzerland is committed to elaborating a collaboration strategy between the WHO Regional Office and member states of the Euro region, and we obviously support its adoption. We congratulate the Secretariat on this excellent document and the specific proposals that have been made to bolster collaboration between member states with the WHO at a national, regional, and international level, as adapting to the context needed by each region. Switzerland renews its strategy of cooperation with the WHO, and that's why we would like to state that we are a volunteer to pilot this strategy and to put into place an example of this strategy and its cooperation. We welcome the national representatives election which took place last Sunday and which is a demonstration of the concrete results of the strategy. Together with the WHO in its leading role, with Belgium and Bulgaria as well, we have imagined how these national leaders in each WHO Euro region country can work. We are preparing governing body work and bilateral exchanges. We wish full success to this project. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Merci.
Thank you, Switzerland. I shall now give the floor to Germany, to be followed by Kazakhstan and then Bulgaria. Germany, please.
Herzlichen Dank. Deutschland
Thank you
schließt
very
sich dem
much. Germany aligns
EU-Statement.
itself with the statement made by the EU. We would like to thank the Secretariat for the report. The COVID-19 pandemic made it very clear that WHO Euro's work is very important. Globally and also regionally, the WHO's work is crucial, but it also demonstrated that where there are still structural weaknesses. As a result, the current process of WHO Euro to strengthen its presence in the countries and working with countries is the right approach in our view. The measures that have been implemented up to this point, the structural adaptation of the regional office and the dialogue carried out with member states seems as absolutely right, and we welcome this inclusive process. Setting goals concerning the relevance of WHO Euro and increasing it for all member states is just what is needed, and we believe that the countries with the greatest needs should also be given priority. By implementing this strategy, we are also preparing to improve the collaboration in the region. It's also important that people in the countries need to feel the positive work of WHO. Thus, the regional office will also be more relevant in political decision-making in countries. In our view, it's important that we also ensure that this work in the national bureaus is financed sustainably, but this is an agenda item that we will come to, and I'm sure we will have a couple of words to say on that as well. One point that is important from our point of view, as Germany, we don't have a national office, but of course we are interested in addressing the challenges facing the country bureaus WHO's country offices, and there was a time when all the leaders of the national offices were invited here, and I imagine many of them will be here now. And there were events for exchanges. There were discussions on the challenges they were facing, how could the role of the leaders of these offices be strengthened, and for Germany, one issue is, for example, how could the leading and coordinating role of WHO not only be global and regional, but also on the national level with UNFPA, with the International Fund, and so on, with all the colleagues who are sitting behind me from other international organizations. Germany, like many others, is represented in all of these organizations, and we want WHO to play a central role in health and also on the national level. And we'll be very interested in this exchange. There used to be this possibility, and this is something that we could perhaps consider implementing again. And I will stop there for now. Thank you.
Merci l'Allemagne. Je passe à présent.
Thank you very much, Germany. Shall I now give the floor to Kazakhstan, to be followed by Bulgaria and then Montenegro. Kazakhstan, please. Distinguished Dr. Kluge, distinguished participants, this session allows Kazakhstan to support all of the resolutions under this session, and we are prepared to actively participate in collaboration in this area. And we are prepared to participate in all of the meetings, in all of the processes which may exist.
Thank you very much.
Merci.
Thank you very much, Kazakhstan. I shall now give the floor to Bulgaria, to be followed by Montenegro. Bulgaria, please.
Honorable Chair, distinguished Regional Director, Excellencies, Bulgaria aligns itself with the EU statement made by Czechia on behalf of the EU member states. We welcome the proposed draft strategy for collaboration between the WHO Regional Office for Europe and the member states of the WHO European region. The strategy focuses on streamlining cooperation between WHO Europe and member states from the region with an adapted approach to the specific national context. We are confident that this approach will contribute to improving the work of the WHO Regional Office for Europe with countries. As a SCRC member actively involved in the subgroup of the WHO Europe's present and working countries, Bulgaria appreciates the impressive work done so far and commends the achievements to date. We highly appreciate the emphasis placed in the draft document on improving existing working models and building on existing cooperation, on countries' needs and adapted and participatory approach, designing a tailor-made WHO Regional Office for Europe to meet the needs of the member states, on strengthening the partnership and different models of cooperation between countries that respond to the specificities of the countries. We appreciate the diversity of cooperation models that aim to reflect differences in a national context. In addition, we welcome the progress made with regard to the network of national coordinators, which is essential for the joint work of the member states in the region to share ideas and best practices where necessary. Thank you for your attention.
Merci la Bulgarie.
Thank you, Bulgaria. I shall now move to Montenegro, please.
Les deux micros sont allumés, Myriana. Je pense que tu dois en éteindre un. Les deux micros sont allumés.
The two microphones are on. Could you please turn off one microphone? Two microphones are on.
Okay, now it's okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, distinguished Regional Director, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Montenegro appreciates the effort of WHO Country Presence Review Core Team and members of Subgroup of Standing Committee for joining forces and work done on this important strategic document for collaboration between WHO Regional Office for Europe and member states of the European region. Montenegro fully supported work on this document and today's adoption at RC. We welcome investment made by WHO staff in responding to country needs. At the same time, we also appreciate efforts to ensure that we are rational and using efficiently scarce resources required to deliver impact at country level. In this spirit, we welcome very much that 3 models have been proposed. In particular, we are pleased to see that the National Country Office remains as one of the collaboration models, ensuring continuation of our productive work and joint action to deliver on general and European program of work commitments. Montenegro especially commends establishment of National Counterparts Network. We believe it will add value and deepen the Member States' collaboration through knowledge and experience sharing, in particular on identifying tailor-made solutions. At the end, let me reiterate, we strongly believe that adoption of this strategy will elevate the cooperation between WHO and Member States to the higher level. I thank you for your attention.
Merci, le Monténégro.
Thank you, Montenegro. The list of member states wishing to take the floor on this agenda item seems to have been exhausted. Is there another member state who would still like to take the floor on the subject? I don't see any requests for the floor, and I've not received any more requests for the floor from international partners or NSAs. So I will now turn to the Secretariat for any responses they might wish to share. Gundo, please.
Yes, thank you, dear Member States. It's great to see this broad support that you've expressed here for the strategy and so many interventions despite the late hour. And obviously we have taken very careful note of your comments on implementing the strategy in an aligned manner with WHO and with our partners, but also in consultation with you, particularly when there are changes coming up that have regional significance. We are particularly encouraged by your statements that indicate your readiness to continue to engage with us in an ongoing dialogue around our presence and collaboration with countries. As one of you said, working with member states and not just about member states or for member states. And of course, we are very happy to take up additional ideas, including those that were mentioned today, such as strengthening the engagement, the role of our WHO representatives who are indeed present here and strengthen their interaction here with the regional committee. Now, this also applies in particular to working together on operationalizing some elements of the strategy as we are moving on, and to bolster regular dialogue through having stock takes, not only within the organization, but also in a regular way at country level. Now, in this all, we want to certainly build on the work, in particular, that was undertaken under the auspices of the working group of the SCRC, the working group on WHO's work at country level over the past 2 years. And indeed, finally, we are very eager to see that the implementation of the strategy will lead to a felt difference of how WHO is being seen in countries, but most importantly, a felt difference for you, member states, and for the populations of your countries. So thank you very much again for your support of the strategy and the collaboration over the last couple of years in its development. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. In that case, we can now turn to the resolution that was proposed. You have the reference to it on the screen. So I will turn to the committee to ask whether you are in agreement with the resolution in question. Are there any objections?
Je n'en vois aucune.
I see none. So I declare this resolution adopted by consensus.
Je clôture.
So I will now also close this agenda item.